Goldman Sachs sees a sharp deceleration in the U.S. economic growth in 2022. Well, it was good while it lasted, but the party is finally ending. One day after we reported the unemployment, households which no longer receive emergency benefits are suddenly spending far less, and on the same day we read about an unprecedented spike in evictions as foreclosure moratoriums end. The only thing missing was a sell-side downgrade to the U.S. economy. Well, we got just that early this morning when Goldman Sachs, which last year was the first bank to unveil materially above conscientious GDP projections, cut its 2021 second half consumption growth forecast, resulting in 1% downgrade to its GDP growth forecast for Q3 and Q4 to plus 8.5% and plus 5%, respectively, as it becomes apparent that the service sector recovering in the U.S. is unlikely to be as robust as the bank had expected, which is odd considering the trillions in monetary and fiscal stimulus that have entered into the economy. One wonders how many more trillions would be needed for Goldman to be happy. But while Goldman's expected 2021 slowdown is manageable, it gets far worse in 2022 when the sluggishness is expected to truly hammer the growth rate, which Goldman is now expected to shrink to a trend like 1.5% to 2% by the second half of 2022, which is a far sharper deceleration than consensus expected. What's driving Goldman's sharp, slow growth shift? First, and as noted above on this chart, the service sector is not rebounding as sharply as the bank had expected, and rising cases of the virus suggest moratoriums will suggest that momentum will slow. A complete service sector recovery will likely require fully overcoming virus fears and returning to office work patterns, which I don't see happening anytime soon. Both now appear likely to take longer than the bank's economists anticipated. Second, return to office have been particularly disappointing, suggesting a prolonged delay in the office-adjacent economy. Office attendance in large cities is still just 1/3 of the pre-pandemic level, and surveys indicate that both workers and employers expect work from home to remain much more common than before the pandemic. Job advertisements provide further evidence that remote work is likely to persist. Using data on individual job listings and descriptions from LinkUp, we estimate that over 7% of new jobs listed in June offered remote working options, well above those pre-pandemic norms of roughly 1%. As Goldman notes, greater remote work is likely to delay the recovery of the office-adjacent economy, which implies a lower level of services spending in the near term. Workers who commute to an office, for example, might consume transportation services to and from office, restaurant meals during lunch, work-appropriate apparel, and dry cleaning services, and other goods and services they pass during their time away from home. Remote workers need to eat too, of course, and they might be as more content preparing their own meals or wearing casual clothing at home. But in the eyes of the GDP statistics, this new arrangement is likely to mean less market transacted economic activity. As an example of this, and as this chart shows, the food services employment remains substantially lower in the cities that have been slower to return to the office, and this remains true even if one controls for state-level virus restrictions, the local share of office employment, or the current level of overall local consumer spending. In the case of food services, former office workers could relocate some or all of their office lunch budget to food services near their homes. But for some office-adjacent services, such as transportation services used for commuting, there are not any substitutes. Corresponding to the downgrade to its GDP growth forecast, Goldman has also bumped up its unemployment rate forecast slightly from 4.2% to 4.4% at end of 2021, although the bank caveats that it expects to lean considerably more about the prospects for labor market recovery from the July unemployment report, which should provide a test of the impact of seasonal adjustments, irregularities, and the early expiration of federal unemployment benefits in some states. The bottom line, after maintaining a growth outlook well above consensus for much of the pandemic, Goldman Economics now forecasts a steeper slowdown in activity and expects growth to slow further to a trend like 1 to 2% by the end of 2022. So make sure you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel, and make sure you comment down below so you can make sure you can see the next video as it comes out. This is financial related news right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and as always, have yourself a great day.